everybody, are you ready for the final reader of the evening? Alright. So, we're about ready to start, and if I can say that a few more times, that's the fourth time I said, okay, great. Our last reader for the evening is Alex Pollock, and Alex entered the program, the MFA program at UCF 2 years ago, well not even 2 years ago, but fall last year, and he started out as one of the editors, an associate editor at the Florida Review, so I had a chance to work with him really closely there. He's a fantastic editor as well as the wonderful writer that you will hear shortly that he is, and he has a really hilarious sense of humor, so it was, you know, no matter what horrible deadline we were on, he would say something really dry, and it would take me maybe a few minutes to realize that it was something funny because it was so dry, and it was really great. And the most recent one I could think of is I go to a conference that's every 2 years or sometimes every 3 years. It's called Nonfiction Now, and he called it Nonfiction Eventually because it's so... But anyway, he's really all right. He entered the program in nonfiction. His thesis, though, is in 3 genres. It's in fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. So he can write everything. He's a wonderful reviewer as well. His work has appeared in Banana Fish, Nerve, and Hobart Online, as well as on his own website. And he's building a new website, I understand, based on his latest work. So please welcome Alex Pollock.
Thank you, Jocelyn, for the generous introduction. Today I'm going to be reading a personal essay. It's about dancing with girls, and there's frequent use of pop songs from the past 15 years, so I'm going to sing a few times. You're welcome to join me. They're going to sneak in, and hopefully you'll recognize a few of them. It's a personal essay in about 5 seconds. It was the night of my 11th birthday, and I was ready to party with my mom. In the living room of my house, my birthday present, the Space Jam soundtrack, wailing through our stereo speakers with a song by the Quad City DJs. Here's your chance, do your dance at the Space Jam. Alright. I cranked up the volume knob. The bass thumped and boomed, and the swirling, slurring voices on the track told us this was our chance to do our dance at the Space Jam. With a smile on her face, my mom swayed her hips and let her hands massage the air. Come on, Alex, she said, waving me on to join her. I smiled sheepishly. That night I stood 4 feet, 11 inches. I was so skinny my ribs showed. My glasses were too big, my nose crinkled beneath them. I wore a Chicago Bulls t-shirt, multi-pocketed Bugle Boy jeans, and Air Penny basketball shoes. I was 11. What would my friends say if they saw me dancing with my mom? What would I tell them to make it sound cool? Good song, my mom said, still massaging the air. Juiced up on cherry coke, I shrugged these doubts away. Who cares? I wanted to dance, and so I joined my mom. On the parquet floor of our living room, my mom and I sweated all the way through the Space Jam soundtrack. I had my dance. I would stand still and straight, then jump, left leg crossing right. Jump, right leg crossing left, jump, crisscross, over and over, faster and faster. Then I'd do the hammer. Then jump, crisscross, hammer, and then a 360-degree spin. My heart pumped, my feet kept moving. This was my dance. More cross and crisscross, more hammer, more spins. I wasn't even thinking about what my friends, what they'd say. I was just dancing with my mom on my 11th birthday. I was kind of unstoppable. I rewound the tape and played it again. A few months later, it was springtime. A Friday night at the Pickering Community Center. DJ Steve's tabletop spraying rainbow-colored lights, and Right Said Fred's I'm Too Sexy blasting in stereo. This was the 5th grade dance, where girls with messy hair whispered into each other's ears, and guys in Umbro shorts and neon t-shirts jabbed straws into the bottoms of Capri Suns. A few parents scattered in the back of the linoleum-floored room were watching, pointing, and smiling. They were the ones having fun. Meanwhile, I was hiding in the dark spot at the edge of the dance floor, right by my best friend, Andy Ishii. For fun, we typically quiz each other on state capitals. But we never really talked about too much else. Andy didn't even want to dance. He probably never did, I thought, not even with his mom. But all that night, I hadn't danced either. No jump and cross and crisscross, no hammer. A few times I almost did my dance, but then I'd look at those giggling girls in jeans. They loomed over me like mountains. I felt like a little kid. The lights dimmed and the So Sexies faded. There was whispered buzz among the crowd, and from the speakers came the soft tinkling of a piano chord. It was a slow song. My eyes darted across the room, past the darkened corner of parents, past the refreshment table, finally landing on Brycelyn Carter and her long sunstroke brown hair and her twinkling hazel eyes and her toothy smile. My stomach turned over on itself. DJ Steve called out 2 names to get things started because there was no way a pair of 5th graders were going to start slow dancing on their own. The victims were Lindsay Tolson and John McManus. Lindsay shouted no, racing into a wall of her girlfriends, trying to escape, trying to disappear. Mariah Carey hit a high note, and finally Lindsay succumbed and grazed her hands against John's shoulders. She glanced back at her friends and at her mom in the corner. John just stared at his toes the whole time. Snowball! They separated quickly and looked for new partners slowly. There at the edge of the circle was Brycelyn. I had talked to her only twice before. First time was in gym class after a relay race. Second time was when I borrowed her pencil in class. That was enough for a crush, but dancing with her? Dancing with a girl? Still, John McManus approached Brycelyn, and just like that, they were dancing. How? How in the world did he do that? My feet refused to move. What's the capital of North Dakota? Andy asked. I didn't want to play the state capital game. Not then. The game of snowball had accelerated. There were now 5 couples swaying to Mariah Carey, and in the thick of it was Brycelyn, talking to all the boys with whom she danced, little laughs between them, like it didn't mean anything, like nobody was nervous and nobody was scared. Snowball was called again, and Andy and I remained on the sidelines, waiting to be asked to dance or maybe just waiting to go home. My eyes began to water, just a little. Snowball again. What's the capital of North Dakota? Andy repeated. The dance floor was filling up. DJ Steve was bobbing his head. The parents were nodding along. Some guy with a crew cut and a starter jacket asked Brycelyn to dance. She smiled. I could not move. Scared. I was too scared to walk up to any girl, much less Brycelyn. My throat tightened as if swallowing a marble. I turned to Andy. Bismarck, I said. 2 years later, it was bar mitzvah season. Parties every Saturday night in hotel ballrooms and country clubs, and I was dancing with girls. 3 on a bad night, 7 or 8 on a good one. My hands on their hips, their hands on my shoulders, swinging back and forth like pendulums, sometimes even making eye contact. I wore contact lenses now, no more clunky glasses. I parted my wavy hair to the left, and I was still short, but as Rabbi Danziger had told me on my bar mitzvah day, I was a man. Kim Friedman's bar mitzvah party was held in a wood-paneled ballroom on a Saturday night in late January. There was a huge projection screen in front. Will Smith skating from side to side. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Getting jiggy with it. So far it was just another bar mitzvah party, the same Lou Puff Daddy and Spice Girls, the same chips and salsa, the same girls in the same spaghetti-strapped dresses. Most of the guys wore polo shirts, khakis, and dress shoes. The cool ones grinded behind the girls of teased hair, eyeshadow, and breasts, and the rest bopped in friendly 2-foot proximity to the closest. Having danced almost all the fast songs and a couple of the slow ones, I walked into the outer hallway and sat against the wall across from Amanda Cowell. In English class, Amanda would write little messages in my notebook about how The Wrinkle in Time or Hatchet kind of sucked. In 7th grade terms, that meant we were friends. What's up? I asked. Not much, she said. I just wish they would play some Ben Folds 5. Are you having fun? Oh yeah, I said, just a touch of sarcasm. After all, it was not too cool to say you're having a blast at a bar mitzvah party, even if you kind of were. That's cool, she said with a smile. I just want them to play a good song. A few steps down the hallway, Amanda's friend Caitlin and my friend Chris chatted and flirted. When getting jiggy with it ended, Caitlin seized Chris's hand and took him back into the ballroom. Amanda and I sat there and watched. Let's go dance, she told me. strawberry wine, 17. The country ballad Strawberry Wine swooned from speakers as Amanda and I made our way through the pendulum swinging couples and into our little spot. A single yellow light crested against half her face and faintly shined on her soft lips. She was wearing a beige dress with a soft fabric outline of birds across her small breasts. It was the usual bar mitzvah slow dance until I inched closer, my hands resting a little more firmly against her hips. She followed suit, her hands smoothly moving past my shoulders and landing on my back. Did she really just do that? There were more sad guitars from the speakers. Amanda wasn't tall, but to me she was a giant. On my tiptoes, I could only reach her neckline. Cautiously, my sweaty hands wrapped around the small of her back. Slowly, we pulled each other closer. I could smell her perfume, something fruity. Strawberry, maybe? Was this happening? I snuck a look up at her face, and her eyes went everywhere but at me. I know we had a few scribbled notes in English class, but boyfriend and girlfriend? The song changed, and now my face was at the outline of the bird's beak on her breast. I should ask her out to a movie, I thought. That Spice Girls movie, Spice World, that was PG-13. It looked bad, but I could buy her popcorn. At my side, I saw Chris and Caitlin. Their bodies close to one another, but not as close as Amanda's and mine. We were so close and so sweaty, but we didn't care, or at least I didn't. What was she thinking? Did she like me like that? This had gone way beyond pendulums. Suddenly, the main light sprang on with a fast rap song, and after a few fleeting moments, we backed away from each other, distant smiles as if we had just woken from a dream. Across the dance floor, I searched for Chris, wanting to tell him about Amanda, to ask him about Caitlin. Was this the night we'd finally get girlfriends? To the back of the ballroom I looked, and there, standing right there, was my mom. My mom. She had her purse by her side, and she was waiting for me. I couldn't approach Amanda now, not with these lights so bright, not with my mom watching me in the audience. It was over. It was all over. Did you have fun? My mom asked as I approached her. Yeah, I said. Sure enough, the dance floor was emptying. Again on the projection screen appeared Will Smith in his pink shirt and leather jacket, another round of getting jiggy. Are you ready to go, Alex? I looked back at the floor, but there was no sign of Amanda. Maybe she was in the bathroom gossiping to Caitlin about what happened or what hadn't. Or maybe she realized when the bright lights came on, we couldn't have each other anymore. I didn't know. Maybe I didn't want to find out. Maybe. Yeah, I'm ready, I said. My mom gave me a kiss on the cheek.